Welcome back to yet another Bitwig tutorial. Oh shit, I've spilt my beer. I have moved my desk over from where I was this morning in the darkness of the forest to a bright and sunny clearing. I'm surrounded by butterflies, and regular flies for that matter. What I want to show you now is quite different to the other three tutorials where I was talking a lot about tight, choppy rhythms. I want to show you something that I learnt actually from a YouTube video a couple of years ago from a YouTuber called ELPHNT, ELPHNT, who makes fantastic tutorials thinking outside the box. This is a trick that he had primarily shown as being an Ableton trick, but this applies to any platform. I'd actually forgotten all about this until about 30 minutes ago when I sat in the sun and I suddenly felt like, oh, I want to make some cool ambient pad sounds. So let's just jump right in. I have here the sound of a beach I recorded in Ireland. Specifically, it's called Silver Sand. I think I've written down Silver Strand here. I think we can all agree that this sound is pretty amelodic. There doesn't seem to be much music in it. I mean, we could argue philosophically that the sound of the sea is music. But in terms of the conventional sense of harmony and melody, this is pretty useless if we were to put it in a sampler and try and play chords on it. Even if I had key tracking on, I think you'll agree that it doesn't sound like much of a chord. So the trick that I learnt from ELPHNT was that if we know that the note A, or A3, is a corresponding frequency of 440 Hertz, if we boost at 440 Hertz on a sound that has no music, and we boost in the octave above it, which would be double the frequency, 880, or the one below it, which would be 220, we can create just A. You know, we can really dial in the idea of A from a sound that may not have it. So if I just put an EQ on this beach sound, and I put 0.44, which would be 440 Hertz on here, and I bring the Q up all the way, notice what happens as I start to bring up the gain. I don't know if you can hear that, but that relatively unmelodic sound has suddenly got a defined A in it. If I were to copy this across to another channel, I don't think I need to do 24 on the second one, because that will create a bit too much resonance. Let's see what happens as I bring in 12 more dBs of 440 Hertz. I mean, that to me sounds quite melodic. So, if we were to then add in 220 below, that would give us an octave below. So, let's see what happens as we start to bring that in too. Sounding kind of cool. Let's bring it a bit more of that 220 Hertz. Make sure that the Q is as high as possible. That's sounding quite cool. Okay, why don't we bring in just above 880 for the octave above that. 0.88. There we go. Let's start to bring that in now as well. Sounds kind of cool. Let's see if we can bring a bit more of that in. Cool. And just for good measure, why don't we bring in 110 as well? So I'll set 110 here. And we'll bring 2 octaves below A3, so I guess this would be A1. Ooh. Hear that? Let's bring a bit more of that A1 in. A1 steak sauce. Okay, and why not also just add in 1760, which I am pretty sure I am terrible at maths, but 1760, okay, I think that will do. So 1.76. There we go. And let's start to bring that into as well. Cool, so let's leave it there now. All we need to do now to create a pad out of what was originally just the sea is now bounce this. Could bounce it in place, but no, that wouldn't actually do it. Let's just bounce. Post fader, and we'll put this on a new channel. A little sip of the beer. Okay, so we can get rid of this sound now, or I'll just deactivate it. And when we listen to this audio file, we have truly a very melodic sound of the sea. Let's create a sampler, and let's drag that onto a sampler. So now we can put key tracking on, and in theory, we should be able to play doesn't sound too great at the moment, but we definitely have defined melody there. We have harmonic content to play with. Let's bring the gain up a little bit. And it's important to note as well that because A is 440, it's an easier number to work out. You know, we can double that for 880, but if we were to have set the frequency that we were boosting to C, we would have been a bit tougher on ourselves with the mathematics. At least I can say so for myself. So all we need to do is set the root to A3. And this will mean now that when I press C, we're actually getting a C. And all that's really left to do now to create a beautiful haunting pad is to bring up that attack, a bit of a longer release, and let's have a look. See what we get here. Quite cool. Why don't we add a few effects? A little bit of reverb perhaps. And maybe a bit of delay. Let's put these a little bit wonky at a time. And put a bit of detune. Might also be a good idea to roll up a little bit of that bass, because there is a lot of rumble at the sea. Okay, so let's have a look. Also, for the sake of my my lack of musical knowledge, let's just slap a diatonic transposer on here, and let's do C sharp mixolydian. I do happen to really like that. And let's see what we've got now. Kind of cool. See the sea. Okay, that about covers that. Seeing as we're still under 10 minutes, I've been trying to keep my videos shorter. Let's see if we can do this with one more sound. Let's take the rainforest. I'm sure I've got something in there. Rainforest atmosphere. Let's do the same thing. So all we need to do, thank you, we don't need to hear you quite away. Let's just slap an EQ 5 on it. Let's set this to 440, 0.44, full Q, full gain. Duplicate it across. Let's add in 0.22, 0.22. Oh, do your job. 220. There we go. It's weird that they don't necessarily correspond to the same inputs. Okay, we'll do 220 there. Bring that down a bit. Let's not even listen to it. Let's just go 220. Just boost this up. Brilliant. Highest gain, highest Q possible on all these guys. Let's add in 1760. Again, doesn't work. 1.76. And let's boost a bit there. And on this one, let's also do 0.880. So there we go, 880 hertz, and we'll boost that fully. So now, what did we do for one? Yeah, that'll do. So let's just bounce. Post fader. Clearly this is a longer clip. I'll use this moment for another sip of beer. When life gives you sunshine, drink beer. Cool. So we are ready to rock and roll. Let's make a new sampler. Let's drag the rainforest on. Bouncing launcher clips again. Oh, come on. I swear we just bounced that. In the meantime, maybe we can play with this synth. Let's check as well here. If we maybe put a nice little low-pass filter, we can put an envelope. And that envelope can open up the filter. And we can make a slightly longer attack. It looks like we're ready for the rainforest atmosphere sound. So let's change this to A3, put key tracking on, and have a look to see what we've got. Now you'll notice another cool thing about this is that not only do you have the melodic content added by that pitching, but if I were to skip forward a little bit here, this I think, if I know the sample well enough, is like the sound of a cricket or some sort of bird. Ooh, yeah. So check that out. What's very cool is that you're now having that sound across a chord. So let's bring that attack up again. Make the release a bit longer. I mean, come on. Considering that was just this. Anyways, that about does it for this quick tip. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I've managed to keep it under 20 minutes, 11 minutes. So on that note, sayonara, buddies, until next time.